Welcome to Happy Hour Holidays. You got your host, Manny Fresh here. We got our co-host, Sean Fabre. And in the studio, we got our uncle, Eddie Riverol, my man.
Yeah,
How you doing?
How you doing?
We're good, man.
I don't see you guys that much, and when I do see you, it's always in a party.
He definitely knows us.
I don't see you guys that much, but I see you in a party.
There you go. So, I mean, you have a really interesting story, Eddie. You were born in Cuba, and not during, recent times. You were born during the Castro Revolution, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was born in 1959, and that's when Castro actually came to Havana and took power from Batista.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, once that happened, it went downhill. Basically,
Yeah.
it took probably about a year, because in 1960 he came out and said he was a socialist communist. Basically, he was in alliance with Russia. So basically, once that happened, things started to change right away. I mean, it didn't take long when you started to see ration. Everything was rationed. Everything from food to basically energy. Gasoline. People were getting arrested left and right because they were against,
The socialists and
the
the communists.
socialists. Yeah, exactly. So
They're
basically,
arresting political,
Oh, yeah,
opposing
yeah, yeah.
political parties.
there you go. And then basically, it took probably about 3 years. And then all of a sudden, they had the urban reform. What that means is that the government confiscated any property, anything that basically
You own?
Against your will, just pretty much.
Against your will. If you had like 3 homes, you take one. If you had 2 cars, you have one. It just actually escalated to the point because it was all in the name of the revolution. That's basically what they do. You know what I mean? They actually paint a picture and it's the revolution, everything for the revolution, right? So a lot of people, the Cuban people got basically sideswiped. A lot of people just took it all in. You know what I mean?
The real question is why the Cuban people allowed it.
Well, because it's the same thing.
Like, how bad was it under Batista that they were like,
Well,
Fidel, save
under
us?
Batista, he became a dictator because he actually
Did he bring the casinos? to
decided that he didn't want to have any more elections. Okay.
Havana?
And it starts like that. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, the people loved them, and all of a sudden, he didn't have no more election. I mean, so what happened was everybody don't like a dictator. Everybody say, wait a second. We want another fresh eyes.
fresh.
Basically, he actually took over at the right time because what happened was Batista was a dictator. Then he came in and saved the day. He was fighting in the mountain. He didn't fight nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody fought him. You know what I mean? It was like a bunch of bullshit.
He was just a really good bullshitter.
Yeah, hell yeah. He
Yeah.
was in there. He walked in. He says, "Oh my God, I took over and I fought." And everything became the U.S. fault. You know what I mean? It kind of escalated because the Russians were backing him with money to be able to overthrow the government. At the same time, you don't overthrow the government. You overthrow the actually armed forces of a nation. That's how you start. You keep them happy, and they enforce the law. And that's basically what happened.
Was there any elections once Fidel Castro took over?
No, it's a puppet. They say he said that he was going to have elections, and it was a puppet. He put a puppet master.
So
He tells, hey, Tota Frita over here, you're gonna be the president, and you go around and you start acting like the president, but you're not. You're getting told what to do behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
how old were you when you left Cuba?
Well, I was about 10 years old.
So then, do you remember when your father had to serve in a camp for stealing
Oh, absolutely.
eggs?
That's basically what.
Can you tell us that story? Because I don't think I've ever heard that story.
Well, what happened was once the communists took over and all that. Anyway, let's go forward a little further, and then now my parents decided, hey, this is no way to live. okay? And we don't want our kids to be indoctrinated, right?
Yeah.
So basically, my parents decided that we were going to leave the country. As soon as you say, hey, okay, we go to President Johnson, because the U.S. has a part in this. When he decided to be communist in 1960, President Johnson came out and, everybody was in an uproar. A lot of people in Cuba were in an uproar.
President Johnson? Lyndon B. Johnson?
Yeah, President Johnson. Okay, after Kennedy.
Yeah.
All right.
Was assassinated.
After Kennedy was
So
assassinated.
you lived through the Bay of Pigs.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but I was less than that. I was in 59. Bay of Pigs was what?
Was it like 63?
Yeah, there's something like that. I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Probably about that. But anyway, when he came out and said, I'm a communist, I'm a socialist to the core, he pounded on the, everybody had to go see him, you know what I mean? Because he was one of those guys that his people had to go see him speak. It wasn't like maybe. No, you're going.
He was.
So basically,
they forced him.
Oh yeah, it's like North Korea.
Yeah, North
when
Korea,
he speaks, you
yeah.
got a bunch of people going.
Yeah, they all go like
Clapping.
this. You see, they all clap, and it's like there's probably like a sign.
Clap.
Yeah, clap.
Hey, you better clap, and everybody like this, like robots. But anyway, he came out and said he was communist. Okay, the country was upset, and people wanted to leave. So he decided to have balls and say, okay, if you want to leave this country, go ahead and leave. Because he thought that the U.S. wasn't going to take the people. So but President Johnson came out and said that anybody who wants to come over can. So
He got fucked.
Everybody.
everybody.
His bluff got fucked.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody was hauling ass. I mean, everybody was hauling ass. You had doctors, engineers,
Lawyers.
lawyers, chemical engineers, civil engineers. The actual people that actually
run the country.
basically made the country, the economy roll, because you got buildings, Anyway, all of a sudden, everybody was hauling ass and said, "Whoa, I spoke too soon." That's what Castro said, and then that's when everybody that wanted to leave the country
No, it couldn't.
now became a traitor.
Really?
That's how you portray it. That's how you get
Treason.
Treason, but you're a traitor. You're a gusano. That's what the nickname was. So when you became a gusano, you lost your job, you lost your property, you lost all that stuff. Everything was gone, okay? And you kept your house barely, okay?
And Abuela came from a rich family, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
They lost all that shit.
Let's put it this way. My abuela, Bella, you met her.
Yeah.
You probably were too young.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
She had dementia.
my grandfather and her, they had sugarcane business. Okay, the sugarcane, what that is it's a commodity, but basically it's a commodity that was actually one of the highest commodities in Cuba. That's the only thing Cuba had. It had tourism, it had a little bit of farming, which is sugarcane. It had coffee,
Tobacco?
It had tobacco, all that stuff. Okay, so basically what happens, they took that business away from her. Okay?
So now it's a government-owned business.
Right. And they had a apartment complex. It had 3 big homes. One of those were for my grandmother.
They were entrepreneurial.
What? Who? My grandfather?
Yeah.
My grandfather was a badass. He had an orange grove. He had apartment complexes. He owned a couple of pharmacies.
And this is all Abuela side, right?
On abuela side.
Yeah.
No, mi papá era un muerto de hambre.
He got in. He was like, "What's up, honey?"
Didn't Abuela, your mother, didn't her father say, "Yo, if you marry this guy, that we're just gonna cut you off," or something?
Oh yeah,
And she was like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm still gonna go through with it."
That's right. They didn't like my grandmother didn't like they didn't like my dad much.
Yeah.
They had.
Oh, was he like he was a poor like?
Yeah, he was poor. You stop and think about it. My dad was born in Ciego Avila, and it was like a little town. My grandmother, remember, his dad died 3 months before he was born. He was working in a nickel mine he had a construction accident. He fell from a building, and he died.
Oh, shit.
So over there, it's not like over here that your dad died, and all of a sudden you get help from the government. You got
Your life
welfare,
insurance.
no life insurance. Oh my God, we're living in. That's what I think sometimes. When you come to this country, you better kiss the ground you walk on, because what happens is over there you don't have no welfare, you don't have no help from the government, you don't have funds for to help out the single person, the single mom, the single whatever. Yeah. No
it's
the jungle out there.
It's a jungle, baby, and you better freaking swim with the sharks or you're going to die.
For 90 miles.
That's why we're so good swimmers, because we swim with the sharks. But anyway, so what happens is she was doing linens for the Chinese laundromats over there.
Yeah.
That's what she did. My grandmother on my dad's side. Yeah. My grandmother on my dad's side. Bella was pampered.
Yeah.
Bella had a maid, she had a cook, she had a...
Damn, they were like rich like that?
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm telling
my
you,
grandmother didn't freaking cook. They had, let me tell you the property. Back in the old days...
I didn't realize they were that rich.
Where's
the
Colonia?
money now?
The Colonia, which is the Colonia is a... how do you say
colonization?
No, La Colonia, it was a home, okay, like they used to call in the South
like the plantation,
like a plantation.
Yeah.
Okay, they say La Colonia was a home in the middle of acres and acres and acres, like a farm.
Oh, I gotcha.
Okay, and then all of a sudden you had sugarcane. I remember when I was a kid. This is vaguely. The railroad tracks would come by and that damn whistle, woo, and I used to hide because I scared the crap out of me. But the train used to come by there, the trucks, and they used to load the sugarcane and it goes to the mill. That's basically what it was.
Shit. They had to stop on their plantation.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was, man.
Holy cow.
My grandfather, let me tell you, back then in the old days, I think my grandfather...
Hey, did they have slaves?
They used to clear... I'm talking about in the 50s.
Yeah.
My grandfather used to clear, I think it was like $300,000 a year profit.
Whoa. In the 60s?
No, in the 50s.
In the 50s?
Yeah.
Dude, that's got to equate to like 1.5 million.
Oh, no. He was amazing.
No, way more than that.
Listen, he built a 3-story apartment complex. Now, figure this out. And this is in Havana. We had 3 homes, the length, okay? And you had my grandmother's house. This is Havana, not in Camagüey and not in Matanza, wherever the hell he had farmland and homes all over. But he had a 3-story, which is apartment complex in the city. No yard or nothing. It was, like if you lived in New York and you come out. You ever seen the New York and you come out? Well, that's how it was. It's all concrete everywhere.
It was a project.
And so he had 3 homes, and behind that it was 20 units that he rented. Okay, and that is what paid for it, by the way. That is what maintained the rest of the apartment complex. Yeah. And it was right next to a park. It was right por la Calzada 10 de Octubre, which is like there Mabry. You know what I mean? Like if you're in South Tampa, you have a building going down West Shore, or you see that building. That's basically what it looked like. You know what I mean? So it was time. And then on top of that, he had a farm off of la Carretera Central, which is, let's say, 75, and you're going up from here
to Orlando.
Probably past. If you take 75, you go past Ocala.
Okay.
No, to the border of Georgia. Let's say that far away, because Cuba is a long island.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is they had a farm right off of that, and then they had a farm off of that, and we had a house on the beach, Salimal. Jesus. I mean, you sit here and across the street, which nothing can be built because it was all diente perro, which that means is lava rock.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a beach. And then down the road, it was like a clubhouse. It had a saltwater pool that was made out of rock that they carved all that stuff. And you used to have to pay to be a club there. That's before the revolution now.
Yeah.
I mean, we went there when they freaking filled that everything went to hell.
This was during Batista.
No, this is doing Castro. They took all that away.
No, I'm saying like he built all this.
Oh
during
yeah,
Batista.
That's all.
So Batista really wasn't that bad.
That house on the no, Batista was compared to this guy. He was a freaking damn. Everybody would have loved to have him back. As a matter of fact, Batista whole life and lived in Miami till he died.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, he wasn't killed.
Damn,
he took a plane and got the hell out of there before they killed his ass.
So our great grandparents were business owners. They were real estate investors. And they own multiple properties and some on the beach.
They were probably one of the wealthiest families in Cuba.
My grandmother when my grandfather died.
Just real quick, what is our grandmother's last name? Our grandmother's last name,
Abuela maiden name was Otero.
Otero.
But my grandfather's name, my grandfather's the brain behind the whole outfit. My grandmother didn't even know when my grandfather died.
Well,
my grandmother was oblivious of what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
My grandfather was Gracia.
Gracia?
His name was Gracia?
Last name is Gracia.
What was his first name? What was his first name?
Yeah. Ignacio. That's my middle name. That's how I was named after him. My middle name is Ignacio Gracia.
So Gracia, like thank you?
Yeah, like thank you.
Holy
Gracia.
Shit.
It's pretty rare. It's not Garcia.
I've never heard Gracia.
Gracia. Gracia is that's what my grandfather's maiden name, Gracia. And then my dad was Riverol Campo. Campo means
the farm.
Campo was like the farm.
Forest. I mean, but anyway, that's basically that's my
so
on my dad's side.
Gracia started all this. Did his dad give him anything, or he started?
Well,
it all?
he was a college graduate. He was a pharmacist, and at that time he was like the village. Chamba was a small town, and he was like the doctor. He prescribed. He gave shots. He went to people's homes, and he had a home over there on the river. I mean, he started with a pharmacy, and then he bought an orange grove from an American owner from here. They had a.
So did he already start off rich?
No, he had to work his ass off. He went to school.
So what did Ignacio's father do?
That I don't know. He was all that goes way behind. Like for instance, Bella's dad. He was in the Spanish army.
Oh, like Spain.
From Spain.
Holy
They fought, to end. We got our Cuba got their independence from Spain. You know that. I mean, it goes way back. That's why we speak Spanish. Yeah. So basically, all those people, they're all Spanish descent. That's what Bella was Spanish. Like my grandmother wasn't born in Cuba. My grandmother on my dad's side, she immigrated from the Canary Islands. You knew that.
I know.
So did our grandmother on our father's side is from the Canary Islands as well.
Mita. Well, Isleño they call them, and that's basically what they actually every family that actually is in Cuba has been a descendant of. I would say 90%. An immigrant from Spain.
Yeah.
So. And that's what happened. So everything that you see in the revolution is like a total farce. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because all that was to take away property. It took away property.
Before hold that thought, Theo. When we get back, we'll continue the story. It's I know you guys are loving this story, so we'll be right back here in a second. Like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays. We're here with Eddie Riverol giving us some really good stories from Cuba back in the day and then also our ancestors. So, Theo, we were talking about, Ignacio y Gracias, and then we were talking about Abuela.
Gracias.
No, yeah, Gracias.
Oh, Gracia.
Gracia. Whatever.
Yeah. Gracias. It's like, thank you very much.
But it wasn't, but we were saying that through the journey, Abuela was actually going to be a pharmacist.
Right. When she was going to school, I remember everybody that was over there that had money came to school over here. That's basically what my uncle was doing over here. I mean, he got cut off when the revolution hit, and he got cut off. He was over here, and then he went back, and then he had to leave.
So whenever you had doctors or pharmacists in Cuba, they would come here for their college.
Yeah,
and
but they have a good university over there. My grandmother was going to be a pharmacist, but she didn't like it. So then she decided to be an accountant.
Gotcha.
And then obviously she was going to help my grandfather with the business, but he passed away at the time. But my mom was actually in the university, going to school
in Cuba.
In Cuba.
In Havana.
She only had 1 year left before
becoming a pharmacist.
No, before becoming an accountant. She left the pharmacy. You remember, it's like college over here. You're going to be an engineer. You take certain classes.
Yeah.
So then
all of a sudden you decide to change your major. So those classes, some of them are good and some are bad.
So Nena was going to be an accountant?
An accountant. Ciencias comerciales.
Ciencia?
Commercial science.
Oh, okay.
Basically, remember in Cuba it's all exporting. Exporting.
Yeah.
You export your commodities.
Yeah, that's all you got.
And in that case, it was big business. My grandfather used to come over here. They used to have a ferry, ferry that you drive your car in Havana and you come back and you hit Key West and you drive, do your business, and you get a.
Are you
ferry.
serious?
Yeah, that was back then.
Bro, Batista was fucking the best.
Oh, well, Batista did all the infrastructure of the country. He put that damn road in the middle of the freaking island all the way from one point to the next. He did the tunnel under the Havana Bay.
They got a
Malecón.
tunnel? They have a tunnel?
He did all that infrastructure. They did that.
But
Machado did the tunnel.
But he was always like a socialist.
Who?
Batista. He was always a socialist.
Well, Batista had social tendencies, but he was
he understood.
Un hijo de puta. He wanted his cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
That's how he became.
Didn't he let all the mobsters build casinos in Havana?
Yeah.
And,
They
like
said-
Lucky Luciano, right? Because they.
Well, they said Las Vegas was actually started in Cuba.
Yeah.
Like the whole like theme of Las Vegas was Cuba first.
Yeah.
You see a piece of The Godfather is kind of fictional, but it is basically true. When he went over there, what's his name?
Lucky Luciano, right?
Yeah, but he went to Trafficani.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Trafficante.
Remember when what's his name there? The Godfather. What was the guy's name?
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando, but his son,
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, went over there, and he was acting as the head of the family, and then he was with Trafficante. He needed $1 million to put into anyway. All that is basically somewhat true. You know what I mean? So that's basically what happened. But anyway, when all that was happening, the United States played an integral part out of it with the Bahia Pig. Yeah, that's basically what happened. And then President Johnson is the one who said everybody can come over. Everybody was leaving. And then all of a sudden, my parents said, well, we're going to leave the country. At that time, Castro was already saying, holy shit, everybody's leaving.
That's what.
So now we're going to have to make it hard on them. So what happens is my dad lost his job. That's the first thing. You got 4 kids. What the hell are you going to do?
How did they know you were leaving though?
But you say we want to leave the country.
Like you have to file paperwork and shit.
Oh yeah. You got to file paperwork, and all of a sudden, remember, President Johnson is not like over here willy nilly. You come across the border and you come. No, when you at that point in time, you come over here and you go to a refuge, which is a immigration center in Miami.
Kind of like Scarface.
Yeah. But no, that's Mariel boat lift. We're going too far now.
Oh.
That's before that. You come there and you stay 2 weeks and you come out with your green card, and you're actually a temporary resident. If you keep your nose clean for a year or 2 years, then you get your permanent residency. In the meantime, if you came over here, your family had to take care of you for about 3 months. Okay.
What if you didn't have family?
Before, oh well, you don't come over.
Oh, so you had to have somebody here to claim you before you could even.
Oh yeah.
Before you could get the temporary residence.
Yeah. It wasn't like this. Is what I'm telling you.
Who'd you guys have over here?
Oh, we had my uncle that was going to school here, and he stayed. He was a smart kid. He was smart. He basically, went to the universities and all that. He was being my grandfather was paying for all that over here.
Was he a permanent citizen or a permanent resident?
Yeah, he was a Canadian citizen, and he was and then he became a Canadian. A U.S. citizen. A U.S. resident. And then he had dual citizenship, Canadian and American.
That's an interesting one.
So basically, yeah, because he was going to school here. Yeah, my cousin Leticia, Leticia lives in Toronto, and Leticia was born in Canada.
Oh, yeah, that's the people from Canada. I think we
that's my mom's brother.
Brother, yeah, that's who it was. Yeah,
Jorge Gracia.
Yeah.
So then,
so he had the Gracias name.
If you look him up, you'll see that he wrote books and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I saw he was a philosopher.
Yes,
philosopher.
So then, you guys apply to go to America to stay with your uncle, and then Castro sees it and says,
"No. We went. He actually did the paperwork because he had the bucks, and then my uncle on my dad's side, Arturo, he's the one who took us in because he had a house that was divided in two, and he had a place for us to stay for about 3 months. My dad got a job. Then we have a home. We got a home so we can rent. Everything went that way.
And you guys were still. He was in Miami.
No. He was here in Tampa.
Oh, he was here in Tampa.
We come to Miami. Miami was the actual hub where all the immigrants came. And you come out of there with a green card, temporary green card.
Yeah.
That's basically what you got. And with that green card, you're able to have a Social Security that actually matched it, and you can actually go get a job. And everybody that came through that place, and then, by the way, if your paperwork was gone, if your paperwork was bad,
they send you back.
Then you say, no, you won't even leave Cuba.
Oh.
They had a center over there. They used to, you had a plane every day going 5 days a week.
So you had to check. You had to check status and see like if your paperwork got cleared.
Yeah, and then if your paperwork got cleared, you come over here, you committed a crime, you get your butt back.
Well, I'm sure of that.
That's the way it was. Nowadays they don't try to do that shit over here. But, you know what I mean? That's the way the immigration was set up.
Yeah.
So that everybody that came over here, they were in the same playing field.
Well,
you didn't have no status, none of that crap.
Yeah.
What could you take with you?
Nothing.
Oh, you couldn't take a suitcase?
Like this thing right here. My socks have holes in them. When you left over there,
suitcase?
Yeah, you brought a little suitcase and they go through it before you get in there.
And take
if you
all
see
your
that
shit,
ring
right?
that you got on, if they like it, they take it off.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't take nothing over there.
So basically, the clothes on your back.
That clothes on your back. You come over here with any Cuban you talk to that came in that era. That's the same thing. You're a traitor. You're a gusano, and you're freaking them. That's it. You can never come back to Cuba. When you left Cuba, he says you understand you never can come back over here.
And that's why a lot of old Cubans always go, I can't go there for the tourist, or anything.
Oh, no. And my dad, my papi before he died, my dad before your grandfather, he told me, if you go to Cuba, you ain't my son. Ever. Now, that's the way it is.
Well, what's the point of going there is really
the
question.
I mean, it's all miserable. But, you can't be that arrogant either. You got to kind of understand if you have brother, sister, mother, father, you go back to see him and you take him scrap and you help him out. And in our case, we were kind of fortunate enough. We had all our family over here. So that's a ticket.
I would just want to see where, do you think a lot of the structures that Gracias had are still up? Are still standing?
Oh, yeah. You got Zapote 69 entre Raviza and Guindalesia. That's my address down there in Havana. Now, the beach house was brand new, so that probably still up.
Yeah.
And then the house in Havana is probably still up. And
that would just be cool to go back and see that, right?
The Colonia was probably still there because that's part of the economy of Cuba. So I'm sure they kept it next to the mill because they actually make that stuff around in relative close proximities to the mill, so the sugar cane can go there and get processed.
Yeah,
become sugar. You know what I mean? So all that stuff came out. All that stuff, actually, the communism, everything that communists hit. That's what. If you look at Venezuela right now, it's a microcosm of what's happening. What happened in Cuba? Because right now it's going to become Cuba in another 50. It's already there.
Yeah, it's already there.
It's already there because you got a dictator that tells you what to do, and then Maduros are going to keep power.
Yeah, the guy that we had on our podcast, the episode before, he left Cuba to go to Venezuela, then had to go through Panama,
cross
the border in the south.
a lot of Cubans.
Actually, no, he flew to Miami. He flew
A lot
to
of
Miami.
Cubans left to go to Venezuela because that's the. Let me tell you something. I've been to China and they got.
You been to China?
Cuba. Yeah, I've been to Taiwan, Japan.
You ever been to Bangkok?
Shanghai.
Oh, really?
No, I went to Shanghai for just
One night in
business for
Bangkok,
the stuff that I did in manufacturing.
Oyster.
So back then, you did everything that you needed to compete. You had to do it over there. Like a part that I was gonna make, it was like basically $70,000 for the tooling, and the parts were $28 a piece. I did the tooling over there for like $20,000, and then my parts was $7.40 FOB. You know what I mean? So basically, that's the only way you can compete. That's why everybody went to China.
So we've been talking a lot about your backstory, and now you brought up the manufacturing part of your entrepreneurial venture that you have done. So can we transition from your background to how you got started in that industry?
Oh, yeah. Well, my dad was a machinist, and then I actually was around the equipment somewhat. And I decided I started working for a company. When I went to high school, I came out of high school. I was going to Hillsborough Community College over here. And then I took, most of the classes I took, it was trigonometry, a little bit of physics, stuff like that I needed because I was going to technical school. I never graduated from college. I went to technical school, Irwin Tech.
Yeah, I did that.
So basically, I went there, and then I started working for a company making injection molds, which is all plastics. Everything you see around here is plastic. So I decided to actually, I said, well, I can do this all day, and I can make my own product and sell it. And that's how I started. So when I started, I just went ahead and got I bought a piece of equipment, put it in my garage, and I made my first mold. And it was a hit.
What was
At
it?
the company, it was a little window to went on a boat. You know what I mean? Because I was working for the marine end of it. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, man. But how did you come up with that? Like, what were you thinking? Like to go, let me do a fucking like boat.
Well,
window.
because I made one. I made one where I worked at the time, and then I decided. I said, shit, if I can do this, I can make it better. I can make my own design because I know how to design. And I said, this is a piece of garbage. I can do it better. Yeah. And then that was the first. That's almost a catalyst.
Yeah.
That kind of like started to think, shit, I can make a whole line of those things, and I can do this, I can do that. So when I did that, I bought a piece of equipment that I had in my garage.
How much was the back then?
Back then, I spent like I think it was like $4,000 for the milling machine, and then I spent another 10 on a computerized system.
Was it on loan?
I still have it.
Did you have a loan, or you bought that with cash?
No. I bought the piece of equipment cash, and then the computerized thing. I had a loan.
Yeah,
but
so you invested. I mean, $4,000 back then today has to mean that you saved up like what would be equivalent to like $15,000.
Oh yeah. It was.
How old were you?
I was in my 20s when I bought that. I was. I bought the first piece of property I bought. I bought it when I was like 23 years old. I bought a piece of property.
A house?
No, a piece of property. And I built a house. I never been in an old house.
Yeah,
I never have lived in a house that I didn't build.
Really?
Yeah, the first house I built and I sold it. 2 years later, made money, bought a piece of property, bought the house that I lived. Bought the property, built the house that I lived for 34 years, and then I built this one.
You built that one in the
Carewood?
Yeah, the other one
Old
that
Carewood,
you used to
with the pool.
You built that?
I built that, and I added 3 times to it.
Who designed that house?
I did.
Yeah.
It still had a good modern floor plan. Like, it had a kitchen open to the family room.
It wasn't that modern. That open plan.
Concept,
it was kitchen, great room.
Yeah, great room. Which is still what people like now.
That's what I like. But I had the actual where I had my pool table and all that stuff.
I remember that.
I actually knocked walls inside and actually redid it.
Gotcha.
Redid it my way, and then I lived there for 34 years.
So then you bought the machines.
I bought the machines, and I did all that. I started building stuff, and then I left the company that I worked for 15 years. And then I said, I went to another company and they gave me the freedom to be able to do what I did. And I got a lot of exposure because I knew the industry real well. I knew the players. I knew what to do. And I became a sales/engineer.
Gotcha.
So I went to all the OEMs, the original manufacturers, and I actually proposed that I'm making this part. In the meantime, I was traveling. I was all over the U.S., all the way from Washington State, all the way to Mexico.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All over the place. I was all over the place.
And this is why you
and then I
them.
went to actual China and all that to actually get the components I needed, because I can make the plastic parts, but the stainless steel and the stampings, stuff like that, was done overseas, because you can actually get the actual pricing that you need to actually be able to compete.
Yeah.
And then that's what I did. And then I started, when I left that company, I had bought another piece of equipment that cost me $25,000 at the time.
Damn.
At this point, have you started a company yet, or?
Yeah, I already had designer tooling products. I still own it.
No. Oh, okay. So what you're talking about? So when you started this at 23, you said?
Yeah, no, I bought the piece of property when I lived there.
Oh,
At
okay.
23, I hadn't started anything. At 23, I was working for that company. I bought the piece of equipment, but I haven't put the computer system on it. And I was making parts because they were subbing out parts where I worked at. And I told them, I want to do those parts and you pay me. So I was, making
And they said, okay.
The company said, yeah, because I was making it cheaper for them.
So it's almost like the 3D printing now is what you were doing back then, in a sense, right?
No, but the 3D printing is not a production.
Yeah.
I had to make, you set up that machine and you make production out of a piece of metal.
Gotcha.
You can't, the 3D printing is all good for prototyping and stuff like that. But whenever you decide to freaking them use that on the field, the lifespan of that part is not going to be, it's not going to be feasible, because all of a sudden you got failure on the field. So, but anyway, all that stuff that happened, I started making the parts, making the parts, and then I was making money as I went.
All right.
And then I started making tooling.
All right. And when we get back, we'll find out what happens next with our deal right now. It's getting interesting, and we'll see how he built a business and was able to sell it later on. So we'll be right back. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. All right, and we're back with Happy Hour Holidays. We were just talking about Theo's company, how it started with working with the business, and then he kind of said, hey, fuck it, I can do a better product. And he came up with a good one, which was the boat window.
Yeah,
And
it was a boat.
It was like a door or a boat window?
No, it was a boat port light. It's a porthole. It's a port light. They actually, for ventilation on the head, they call it the head, the bathroom, the restroom of a boat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it's just like anything. If you have a fan in your bathroom, that's basically the equivalent. Anyway,
are these for big boats or for a little boat?
No, that's for small boats, because you want volume.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to sell one door, I need to sell thousands, to make a buck.
Well, I was thinking like a cruise ship or some shit like that.
No. This is a marine industry. You're talking about anywhere between
26 feet,
under 30 feet.
Under 30 feet?
Yeah.
So they were express cruises.
Because no, under 30 feet of a boat. Anything under 30, you have those type of plastic parts. Everything else is higher end, because now the boats are rated ABC. You have certain spots on the boat that's actually rated by the ISO, which is the actual codes of what do they call it? The marine. The marine.
It's okay.
Guidelines that actually tell you what rating of a window and what's the impact. It has to do with a lot of different things. Like if you put a port light under the gunnel, you actually the impact of a wave is actually like a hurricane, a gust of a gust of wind hitting your window.
It needs a certain
So
amount of
that window
strength
has to be rated for that type of wind, right?
for that force. Yeah.
Right, for that force. Anyway, so I made port lights, but it's all above the gunnel. So it's not, I didn't make anything. For the other company, I did because they had the money.
Yeah.
So I was able to freaking get the tempered glass, the laminated glass, all that stuff that cost money, and I made. So I was experiencing all that.
So how old were you when you started your company?
Oh, I started late, man. I started probably in my 30s. I should have started earlier.
Well, 30 what? 30 what?
Probably 36.
That's not late, man.
You know what? And
Because a lot of our
no,
listeners,
but-
a lot of our listeners are between the ages of 25 and 55. Starting it in your mid 30s is not late.
Well,
guys.
actually, they say most
still have time.
It depends. You still have time, absolutely. But for my goals, I wanted.
if you would have started a little bit earlier,
Right, and the money was scarce. I had a family already. It was kind of like it was tough in a way because you want to, leverage.
Yeah.
The risk versus the failure. You know what I mean? You got. So basically, that's what happened. That's what I say. It was late. That's all.
But I mean, most people do their biggest
Ray Kroc.
Yeah, well, their biggest things after.
And
40.
remember,
Yes.
if you go through a divorce, it sets you back about 5 years.
Oh shit! Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Cheaper to
let's
keep 'em.
let's put all the different,
Cheaper to keep her.
sometimes you can't go that way. That route. But anyway, but when I started,
Hey, but you kept your business through the divorce.
oh yeah. I kept the business. I kept everything. I had. I had property. I bought that condo on the beach.
Yeah,
Remember
I know,
that?
yeah,
All that stuff. It's all
Relative.
relative. You know what I mean? But anyway, when I started the business, I it was like about 36 years old, and I started. You just can't go to Walmart and try to sell them that cup. You got to have a whole line.
Yeah.
You understand? You just can't go. Oh, this is my product. We're going to sell that. No, you gotta. When you go into an OEM. The original manufacturer of a part. You go to their place and you want to sell them. You got to sell them a whole line of stuff. They like want a one-stop shopping. People are lazy. If you're a purchasing agent, that's what you do. You want to go ahead and simplify things. I buy from this people, and I can buy this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Now the economy has tanked somewhat.
Yeah.
And inflation is high and all that. Now. Those purchasing agents are actually working harder because now they got to say, well, maybe I can get this part a little cheaper somewhere. So now they got two vendors instead of one. You know what I'm saying? So now things move. You know what I mean? So basically, I had to make a whole line of products, different sizes, doors, access covers, rod holders. I had all kinds of crap. And then
All marine related.
all marine related. And I got some electrical stuff, some fencing stuff, anything to make a buck. I made a tool for it. And that's why I was telling you, if you make my niche was that I was able to make the tooling.
Can you explain what the tooling is?
Tooling is the tool is a production tool. What that means is it can make parts. The injection mold can make parts every 20 seconds, let's say. So that's how you get
That's quick.
A computer, the housing in a computer, not the guts, but the actual housing, the plastic.
The case, yeah.
The cage and all that. Well, if you have that product, obviously, let's say Samsung owns the tooling and everything. Well, I own the tooling for the parts that I was making. And then you put it all together. You got components, you got screws, hinges, pins, washers, O-rings, handles, all that stuff that you can buy. And whenever you make a tool, you try to navigate through everything that you can buy standard, like a screw, let's say a 1/4 screw. That means a 1/4 inch, 20 inch per minute. 20 inch,
Thread.
20 threads per inch. Yeah. What happens is you buy something standard, you can buy a whole box of them of 1,000 for like $10.
Yeah.
Do you have a factory?
Yeah, I have still. No, my building, but it's already all.
Well, how many? I guess how many products were you putting out on different tools Did you have
Every product is a different tool.
Yeah, right. So
Different.
were you making different products at the same time? So you
I
have
was
all
making
these
like
tools
I was making like 30 different ones.
all at once, right?
Well,
Or did you have to
depending on
did
the
you have
order?
to switch out the tool?
No, every tool, every product. Like for instance, for let's say an 11 by 15 door, you got two molds. One of them makes the door, and the other one makes the frame.
Gotcha.
So you run frames, you put it in the machine, you run the frames,
Oh, then you
and
switch
then you
out
take
the
that
tool.
and you put that mold in there. And that one mold is a self-contained unit. It has an injection. You got ejector. You eject the part out. So what you do is you're making the molds. If you have a product that you want to make, the ticket is you make the injection mold. If you watch Shark Tank, everybody says, "Oh, the tooling is very expensive."
Yeah.
It is because you got it. First of all, the average person that makes tooling in the United States now is 66 years old. It's a year older than me.
Because it's so expensive. Though.
No, because nobody
because-
wants to do it. Everybody
yeah.
wants to play with their phone. You know what I mean? They don't get their hands dirty. So basically, nobody's doing the manufacturing type. And then all this
Or it
manufacturing
was
from
sent to China
is coming
exactly.
back now.
Yeah.
Because what happens is China, their economy is in the tank. And then basically their workforce is actually working for nothing, really.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going to see a lot of that stuff come back, and then you're going to see Mexico play an integral part if they fix that border bullshit that's happening right now. You know what I mean? If they fix that, you're going to see an integral part of South America actually work, you know, in coming back, because they're going to be the next industrial revolution. Over there in China, you got too many restrictions. You got the communism in the middle of it.
Man, that sounds like
dictatorship.
Warrior.
Huh?
It's a Netflix show where actually it's an HBO show where it was based in the
70. It was 778.
1870s, right after the Civil War ended, where Chinese immigrants were going into the United States and they were taking jobs from Irish immigrants, and they were having battles, right? So with this influx of new, cheaper labor, you're saying that more manufacturing jobs are coming back to America from China.
What I'm saying is that the Chinese government is basically has to take care of 1 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
And that billion people means everybody's one job. You got 20,000 people for one job.
Yeah.
So now you have a problem because they can't sustain that. And the governments don't give you the help, you know, that they need. Most of when I went to Shanghai the first time, you have buildings and buildings and buildings and buildings. They're all empty.
Really?
And yeah, they were all empty, all of them. You see these beautiful buildings. You see a guy with a freaking broom made out of a freaking palm tree sweeping the street. Everybody on a bike. That's when the first time I went over there. Now it's a totally different ballgame, but that's because they were working towards an industrial revolution, which they did have. That's how they got all their money to get all the naval. And all. But now it's in decline because everybody from the cities are leaving.
To where?
Now they're going back to farming and whatever they can make to eat because they had to eat. You got 1 billion people, they got to eat. And then basically they don't have that. And remember, China doesn't have the resources, natural resources the U.S. has and different countries have. That's why they're all down in South America trying to take Brazil, and that's why in Venezuela trying to get oil from them. But they don't have the technology. They're not as advanced as we are.
You would think they just get it from Russia.
Well, they get it from Russia too because they're in the border. It's no love. It's no love between Russia and the Chinese.
Really?
No, it's no right.
I thought there
it's
was.
all. Oh my God, no. All those guys eat their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you gotta look. We're going back. Speaking of politics, you know, with Donald Trump. When Trump went over to
North
Germany,
Korea.
he told Angela Merkel, "Hey, you guys are too dependent on oil from Russia, and you guys, we're protecting you, and you're buying oil from Russia. You're making Russia rich."
Yeah.
And everybody said, "Oh, you don't treat your
allies
that way." Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it came true. All of a sudden, what happened? Look what Russia just did. Invaded freaking Ukraine. Now you got a war in the middle of freaking Europe, and you guys ain't even freaking them supplying them with anything. You guys are neutral because, hey, you know, we don't want war. But at the same time, you, me, everybody here in this country are paying the freaking billions going over there
it's a
to
proxy.
Ukraine.
It's a
And then you
proxy
got a
war.
bunch of homeless people all over the damn place. And then you got the cities like New York, they're becoming ghost towns. You go down New York now, right now, and you got a whole block that don't have no businesses. Everybody left. It's anarchy. You know what I mean? So that's basically what happens. And then you got, you know, the political scene all divided. Now, remember, most people think right now that you got the two candidates, right? Biden and Trump. You got Trump that everybody's saying, who are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick for vice president? And the most important position is the attorney general.
Yeah.
If you go back all the way to Kennedy, he had his brother, Bobby. Kennedy, Bobby had his back. If you go to Clinton, you got Janet Reno, had his back. If you go to Obama, Eric Holder had his back. If you go to Biden, you know, Garland has his back because, you know, he's actually runs the DOJ, the Department of Justice. They can bring charges or they can take charges away. So all those, and look what happened to Karl Rove. The Republicans actually have the attorney generals that don't do jack. So you got to kind of like watch what we're doing here. When Trump gets in office, he's going to have an attorney general that has his back. Because the vice president is just a puppet.
Yeah.
You tell him what to do, you give him an assignment, and then you do it. And then you have to get somebody that can actually run the country if you kick the bucket. That's
Actually,
basically
if you
it.
kick the bucket, the vice president is next in line, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to pick somebody that can run, but at the same time, he's not nobody. Because look what happened to General Flynn.
Actually, look
I
what,
mean,
look what happened to
Pence went out and said, hey, he lied to me, let's fire him. Nobody backed him. And he was guilty before they even tried him. And you see it was a lie because they framed him. The FBI framed him. And it's over evidence now. The worst mistake of Trump's presidency was he had Jeff Sessions as an attorney general. That guy was a pussy. Hands down, the guy backed off and recused himself from the Russia bullshit. There was a Russia bullshit.
Yeah.
And then he decided to do that. And what happened? His presidency went down because he got impeached and died. The perfect phone call, this, that, and the other. They gave him hell. The whole president. Look how much he got accomplished. And now look what we have. You got this guy that nobody touched him. And he did what he wants. And look at the economy the way it is. Inflation is up. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the report today.
Oh.
Inflation went up.
What was
Now
the
the interest
report?
rates are going to stay the same. Huh?
What was the report today?
Oh, it went up 3.6. So we're screwing we're screwing ourselves. You see the gas went up just now.
Yeah.
I mean, if Trump gets back in office, he's going to look like a genius because he's going to come down and freaking drop the freaking gas, even though it's a commodity. But if you flood the market with the freaking oil, what's going to happen? Price goes down.
Yeah.
So basically what's going to happen is he's going to look like a genius. He's going to go ahead and drop the...
Do you know why I think this country is so fucked up, man? Is because every 4 years there's an election. Sure, that's okay. But what the next party does when they come in, they undo everything that was done the last 4 years. And whether it's for the best or the worst, the next 4 years after that, let's say a different party gets elected, and then they undo everything that was done the last 4 years. So constantly, this is what's happening. Up, down, up, down, up, down. It never goes up.
Listen,
Because there is just not
this country,
an inclination. This country is so divided, dude.
Yeah, but it's divided, but the division...
It's caused by the mainstream media.
The division has always been there, and we had the Constitution
When
to keep us in line. What's happening here is, like I'm talking to you right now, the Department of Justice is not following the law.
It's weaponized.
If you go ahead and you take immigration,
We got 30 seconds.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know. It kind of came up quick.
All right. Well, we'll be right back. We'll hold that thought, Theo, and we'll be right back to finish the thought. Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you watch out for the Friday features that we're doing now with small businesses, trying to help them out. Today in studio, we have our uncle, Theo Eddie, and he was kind of going into attorney generals and how important they are for the presidents. So we were talking about Trump, and the first one that he picked obviously wasn't the best one for him, but he also wasn't a politician at that time. We were kind of talking outside where you were kind of saying he thought he was going to charm his way in, but people there play a dirtier game.
Right. So basically what, his advisors always say, well, get Barr, because Barr was an attorney general for W. Bush, H.W., right? Bush, the second.
Junior.
But anyway, they picked him, and he basically didn't pan out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that you have nowadays with Biden having his attorney general basically dictating. You got Alan Bragg, you got Letitia James in New York, you got Fannie Willis. They're all pressing charges, and it's a bunch of bogus stuff. You know what I'm saying? So most of the stuff like was happening in New York, that's a disgrace.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about he got basically fined $355 million because he paid his loan back, and I don't know if you guys follow that. But, Yeah, but what happened was, he got sued because Letitia James says that he inflated the pricing on his real estate, which was, I mean, you can inflate your price. If you're going to sell your home nowadays, I can say, hey, my home is worth $1 million. And the bank comes in and says, no, it's only worth $500,000. And that's all you get out of it.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and ask for $1 million if you got an idiot that comes in with a sucker in his forehead, and he gives you $1 million, you take it, right?
Yeah, you take it.
He says, well, the banks go and they do the due diligence. They go out there and they appraise the property and say, no, well, your property is this much, and this is all we're going to let you borrow.
Yeah, Kevin O'Leary actually spoke to that point.
There you go. Yeah. Kevin O'Leary is the best spokesman for that.
Yeah.
He says, New York, I'm not going to do business in New York now.
What is it? What does he say it is? It's a loser state.
Oh, it's a loser state. You know exactly that. You're up on that.
Yeah.
So basically, it's exactly how can you be convicted of something you didn't do? Who brought charges on that?
New York.
The DOJ. Guess what? You have to smack them down if you have an honest Department of Justice. You don't find somebody $355 million for a loan that you paid off on time, and then basically the bank or the financial institution wants to do more business with you.
Yeah.
And how you get fined?
I mean,
and then all of a sudden he's going into another Alan Bragg, the Attorney General of the district attorney. I forget what his position is in New York now, with going after Trump because Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he said he didn't pay it, but let's say he paid $150,000 for the deluxe package. Hey, he got
Stormy Daniels been ran through anyways for much less.
It's in Las Vegas. It's legal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So hey, I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you cannot come and bring charges to somebody who spent his own money. If he spent a campaign money contributions, then you got a problem.
Yeah.
Well, you might as well get the last 50,000 freaking politicians who have done the same shit.
Exactly.
You know? You gotta be fair.
Oh my God, you got people in Congress that they used to have the slush fund. Anybody who had an affair used to get fund from that slush fund that they used to call it to pay for their attorney fees.
So what basically you're saying is that the current administration is weaponizing the DOJ to try to take Trump out of the presidential race because they see him as a threat. And if you guys out there are looking at it, look up the polls, the general election polls that are out right now. Trump is leading in about 95% of them.
Right.
And the major swing states as well.
And, yeah.
And that's what I said.
And in Democratic cities,
it's
too.
not about liberals. It's not about liberals or conservatives. It's about the rule of law. The same thing's happening at the border. People are coming in. We have laws in place to actually take care of that. Way back when I came in the country, if I would have screwed up, they would put their foot up my ass, and I would have been back in Cuba.
Yeah, like Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
Yeah,
Lincoln Riley?
the Venezuelan guy said, now all of a sudden you can call him an illegal immigrant. He is an illegal immigrant.
Oh, I should have said undocumented.
Well,
he came out and said that, which is crazy.
It's undocumented newcomer.
But you have an illegal immigrant that killed a teenage woman, and this administration I'll take a firm stance on this. This administration has not came out and apologized for that.
Well, they're never going to apologize, but they had to take action because now look, they're in a state that he's going to probably get the death penalty. If they have one, but most likely he won't.
No, he won't.
But all of a sudden, we're going to have to take care of this SOB for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And guess what? Who's paying for that?
Taxpayers.
Everybody's going to be paying for that.
Taxpayers.
So most of the stuff that's happening in the country is all the attorney generals. The attorney general, my point being, has Biden's back. Whatever he wants, he gets. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be blind. But Lady Justice right now, through his blindfold, and she has one eye out. And he says, oh, I should go this way. You know what I mean? Instead of being blind and actually going by it. And the laws that they apply in this country are not applying for everybody. And everybody says, oh, it's 2 tiers of justice. It sure is now. It feels like it.
It does.
Now,
And as I says, we don't understand it. And say, so if you're going to start a business, going back to starting a business, I don't know how people can do that, going to New York, going to California, going to Illinois, and all of a sudden you're starting a business in those states, and all of a sudden you got the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, everybody against you. Remember when that happened in New York about the lawsuit that Trump lost because he paid his loan on time with interest.
Yeah.
And the institution wanted to do more business with them. Okay, all of a sudden, everybody, the governor came out and says, that's not going to happen to every business. It's just going to happen to Trump. What do you mean? Trump is an American just like everybody else.
It's political targeting.
And as a matter of fact, Trump was a big asset to New York because he redid the whole New York, the skyline. I mean, he had his Trump Tower. He did the skating ring. He has all his apartments and all and his property are pristine. Everything is taken care of. Yeah. Everything is clean. Now you go to New York and it's a freaking dump.
And they used to love him. They used to love him. They used to love him. They put him in Home Alone 2, right? And then he was on Oprah Winfrey show where she asked him, hey, would you ever
Howard
run?
Stern. He was on Howard Stern every day.
Yeah.
Because he was a slut dog. He's a billionaire in freaking damn New York. And everybody's saying, oh my God, he's a womanizer. And I said, well, the guy was a billionaire in New York with a helicopter and a flight. What do you think?
He's going to grab her by the pussy, dog.
He's not that damn good looking, brother.
No, he's not. But his money looks good.
It says, all of a sudden, he takes Melania out in his jet and they go like a pretty woman. They go all the way to eat dinner and come back.
I like him.
And he says, I can make him pretty. I can make him pretty real well. Take 2 glasses of wine and says, oh boy, Trump, you look beautiful. You're a sexy baby.
But you got to think about Trump. He's level-headed. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke.
Oh, absolutely. He does.
He's a guy who's level-headed, and I respect him in a business aspect too. I mean, he grew. I mean, everybody says, "Hey, he had $1 million loan to start off with." Well, let's see what you would do with $1 million loan.
Oh yeah, exactly. And look what he's done. And everybody's just giving. It goes back to Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell when she criticized him about about that, and it goes back to people criticizing him. Everybody can criticize. This was so great about this country. You can tell everybody where to go, how to get there, and you have freedom of speech. Yeah. The other day, Letitia James went and was going to give out of the war for the fire department, and everybody booed her ass. Now all of a sudden they want to go ahead and suspend those people. What are you talking about?
Really?
I can say whatever the hell I want to her.
They were trying to.
Oh yeah, they want people to step forward because they booed on company time.
That's stupid.
Oh, it says what? They're walking it back now, but
technically on company time. Well, it's not company.
It's not company time, man.
Because they're public servants.
There you go.
They're
it's a company time, and then all of a sudden the union steward comes out and say, "Oh, we shouldn't have done that." Man, shut the hell up. So you support the firemen. Everybody says the firemen walk in when everybody's walking out. You know, the cops, the same thing. Now all of a sudden you got a bunch of immigrants beating the shit out of cops and they get away with it. You know,
not in every state.
Yeah, not in every state, but and
you know who Grady Judd is?
Huh?
You know who Grady Judd is? Not in Grady Judd's
No,
County. Grady Judd.
God, this is like they said, if you loot, you shoot.
I love that.
You
guy,
don't
man.
say you don't see that here in Florida because you know what? You come into your house and guess what?
Yeah.
You know what?
You don't have no crime. Look, everybody says, how come you can go to a restaurant, you can have a store, you can have everything. Nobody goes looting here because they know they're going to get shot.
Yeah.
Hey, back in the old days in Miami, they had, remember, BLM was marching all over the place. Guess what? They went to Miami and all of a sudden, everybody in the Calle Ocho had, the Cubans had their freaking shotguns out and all that. You're going to come in here and loot, you're going to get shot.
Yeah.
They said, what's that shotgun back there? Oh, no, shotgun's there. It's just a wall ornament. That's all it is.
And you know what?
And it says basically why. Because what happens is everybody was coming out and looting. And guess what? This BLM deal with that happened, it wasn't the black people. It was white people doing that crap.
Yeah.
He says if
George Soros.
Yeah, the George Soros basically doing that. So, but anyway, going back to the attorney generals, is an important position for a president, and they have to have somebody that keeps the rule of law and keeps the president in check too. I mean, a president can't willy nilly do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you got somebody you have to have your back. This damn things is happening right now. It's all the DOJ's deal. You know, they're not going by the law. And then as far as the immigration, we got laws. And this idiot over here got a bunch of executive orders and then put them implemented them. And now all of a sudden he's saying, oh, no, we need Congress to act. No, you need to act. You need to act. Yeah. It's your job to keep us safe.
Well, you know what the whole thing about that bill is, right? For the border, what they're doing is instead of supplementing a bill,
nobody voted.
Well, the thing is that they're inflating the bill with everything else. Hey, let's provide additional aid to Ukraine.
They put pork in it.
Yeah. That's what they do.
Every freaking thing that they can think of, they put it in there.
If there was a bill that literally said, yo, this is just for building a wall, you would pass it in a day. But the problem is that they're trying to just put too much shit additional to the bill.
Listen, they needed only like $8 billion for the wall.
That's it, yeah.
And Trump had to get it out of the defense budget. These people, all of a sudden now, they find $120 billion for Ukraine to actually take care of their border.
Yeah.
That's what people are kind of like looking at it and says, this don't make sense. We needed 8. You stopped the wall. You gave him hell over the wall. And all of a sudden, you come up with $120 billion.
I think where he fucked up.
And all of a sudden you say, but wait a second. You're trying to defend their wall, their border.
Where he fucked
and then all of a
up,
sudden we're freaking them not defending ours.
Where he fucked up was when he said, and Mexico's going to pay for it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's where he fucked up.
Mexico was going to pay for it. And people don't understand that Mexico is going to pay for that wall one way or the other. And then say, well, how in the hell is it? Did Mexico give you the money? No. Okay. You're going to do what we tell you to do. Okay? Now, you stop and think about it. Those 28,000 border agents that they were paying for it, the actual tariffs that he was going to implement on them, that's money.
Yeah.
That's money. And so eventually he's going to pay for that wall. You think that the president is going to say, hey, you're going to pay for that wall? No, you're going to take care of your border or you will pay for that wall. And that's one of the reasons that he told him, he says, if you don't take care of that, you're going to be paying a tariff of 50% on every car, every product that you bring abroad. You know, you ever been down to Texas?
What does Mexico import into the U.S.?
Let me tell you something. It's truck after truck after truck after truck after truck.
Of what?
From merchandise made in Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, what do we buy that's made in Mexico?
Oh, a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Corona.
Yeah, Corona. But everything is that you have Mexico can be.
So you're saying the wall would have been paid for through tariffs?
Tariffs and actual the money that we're spending in the border is astronomical.
Oh,
Yeah,
If you look at Texas' budget, the only reason that Texas actually, because Texas is bringing all the industry, they got some tourism and they got oil. They
Mexico's
have a
got
budget
oil?
from here. What do you think we have here in
Texas.
Florida? A surplus of
Tourism.
We can pay. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You get $60 billion a year or whatever the hell it is,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you say, "How the hell that happens?" You see, Tampa is a liberal city. It's run beautifully.
Yeah.
You don't see no freaking crime here. You don't see no bullshit. How long you think Mayor
Castro.
Yeah, Jane Castor.
Yeah, Castor. How long you think she will be elected if the city was I don't care if she's a liberal or a Republican. If it was a piece of shit, everybody will kick her ass out.
Technically,
Yeah.
she's
Because
undeclared, but
this city's run every
It's great.
city.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and you don't see immigrants all over the place here.
No.
You don't see
Well-
homelessness. You see, like in every city, every metropolitan.
Well, I do.
yeah, well, you see.
Where are you driving? Only the nice areas?
No, but I mean, you go downtown and stuff. Yeah, you see some,
Yeah.
and you see some here and there, but you don't. You go to California. If you ever been to freaking San Francisco now, you better look around. You got an app that tells you where not to step in. You know what I mean? But anyway, if you're going to start a business nowadays in this country,
Starting in a
like I
free
did,
state.
I don't know how people do it because you're going to do that. You have to start a business like mine. You had to make the tooling to produce the parts. You have to design it. You have to find the customers, right? And then you have to produce it. And to produce it, you have to have people that actually can actually manufacture, like the molding. I did the molding myself too, but then I subbed that out because it was more cost effective for me.
Yeah.
So you have all that, and then you have to keep inventory. Inventory is a big part of it because in the United States, right now, the Chinese have it great because you order from them, okay? When you put an order in there, they tell you, hey, your order is done. Then you got to freaking then wire the money. When the money hits their bank,
Then they start making
then no, they release it.
Oh.
They'll make it, but they'll release it. Okay.
That's a good business.
That's
practice.
a hell of a business because every time I used to ship a part, I got 30 days.
So you were net
So
30?
basically, I'm day 30. So basically, what happens is all the parts that I shipped and all the material that I paid,
You haven't gotten paid for it.
I haven't got paid for it. I'm sitting there. This is dead money. And I had to make it. I shipped it 30 days. Once you reach the cycle, that means that every week, it takes you a while. Every week you get a paycheck, like everybody does. When you get a paycheck, now you're starting to actually move.
Yeah.
You're getting some capital
Yeah.
that you can actually basically expand, or you can go ahead get a salesperson that can get you more business, or you can go ahead and come up with a new product.
Yeah.
All that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And when we get back, we'll kind of talk to Theo a little bit about how long does it generally take to get those weekly paychecks in for a business that's, for anybody who's looking to start a business when you start doing these net 30s. We'll be right back. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Welcome back, happy holidayzers. My uncle, he was about to explain something, when it came-
uncle.
Our uncle, my uncle. You were a half child.
I'm a bastard son.
You're a bastard son.
You're a brother from another mother.
But we were looking at the sign, and you were going to kind of explain something about
Well, I was going to explain how you become. How can you generate the revenue that you can get a paycheck every week?
Yeah.
When you start a business, you don't even think about your paycheck. You don't even know what day it is. So basically what happens is you actually have to have your inventory and turn it. What that means is that you actually sell it and you get money in. So once you get a customer and they order, and then and you get another customer and they order, then you start getting checks every week where that check is operating capital, and then you'll be able to pay all your employees. And in addition to that, you got to put money into inventory again. Manufacturers are they're at the bottom of the totem pole. You cannot function without the inventory because you cannot react. It can be anything. Remember during the pandemic, what happened? Supply lines got screwed. Everybody's going crazy. Everybody's ordering because all of a sudden your suppliers can't supply. And you say, well, I want my PO. I'm putting another PO. And now all those POs came in. The economy basically took a dive. Now everybody has inventory up the ass because they had to take those POs.
Yeah.
You ordered them.
PO is purchase order.
Yeah,
guys.
purchase orders. And then all of a sudden, all those purchase orders were you took all that, and then the sales went down. So now you got more inventory that you really need. So the basically what you have in inventory, this is not an exact science. If you have a customer that orders a cup in white, and they were ordering 1,000, now they're ordering 300. And all of a sudden, to give them that 1,000 cups per week, okay? Now they're only taking 300. So now you got 700 times 3. That's 2,100 cups that you're not selling, but you have them in the warehouse. Dead money. You know what I'm saying?
Can't you sell them yourself?
No, what I'm trying to tell you, it's like you're trying to, you can find a home for those white cups.
Yeah.
But if nobody's buying, those
you can't sell them.
then you can't sell them. So now all of a sudden, you have issues with everything. It's like a chain reaction. You got issues with labor.
Did you guys shut down during?
No, I never shut down.
So it was an essential business.
Oh,
right?
no. I lost 3 employees to the PPP money that were getting like $906. Look, I lost 3 employees to the PPP money. Why?
Wait a second. No, PPP money goes to the business owner, not the employees.
Oh, no. They were getting money. The people without a job, they were able to get money. The PPP money that I got was to pay the employees. The employees were still getting $906 a week. That's all this money. That's inflation. What is inflation, right?
Printing money.
No, yeah, it's too many dollars chasing too few goods. That's what inflation is. Those people were getting money. They dropped me because I was paying them basically almost $900 a week. Some of them $1,000 a week. That's what I was paying.
It's $4,000 a month.
Yeah, well, I was my
That's
payroll.
a good living.
My payroll, yeah, absolutely.
Was it 1099 or W-2?
Some of them would W-2 and some 1099. I'd rather have them 1099. I had to go to 1099 because there's no way I could afford them anymore.
Yeah.
So what happened was these people got $906 a week. 3 of them did. And they basically have a vacation for a year. Would you take that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, some people would. And some people say, well, when are you going to have a chance to get a paycheck and fuck off? I mean, you do it. I mean, I couldn't blame him too much. I got upset.
Yeah.
Obviously, because now I'm working 8 days a week. Because I had to get 8 days a week. I was working 8 days a week because I was working Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then I had all these orders because the pandemic hit. Everybody wanted to buy a boat. Everybody wanted to buy an RV.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted their own little space. And they don't want to breathe your air. That's basically what happened. And then that's basically what happened. So I was busier than ever. It was like off the hook. I couldn't get nobody to work because everybody's taking PPP money. So, I mean, the type of labor that I need is somebody to put a screw. So what I did, I kept the people that I kept and I gave them work to take home. I kind of like reinvented myself.
Take home?
Huh?
What do you mean work to take home?
Well, basically, I gave you a box of, let's say, cup holders, and you had to put a little clip on the bottom and all that, and get them ready and pack them.
Yeah.
And I pay you by the piece work. If you do all this, I pay you $300. They go home and watch TV, and they do it, and they bring it back. So all of a sudden, my guys that I kept, they were making like $1,500, $2,000 a week, but it was safe because I lost 3 employees that I was paying $3,000.
Yeah.
So profits go up.
So yeah, my profits went up a little bit, but at the same time, I was doing that.
Yeah, you were
And then I had to take care of my personal tax, corporate tax, tangible tax, employment tax. I mean, you go and then I'm taking care of it. And then I got my accountant, but at the same time, I got to get all that information together. So now when I'm not doing this, I'm doing paperwork.
Do you know our business?
Basically, it's not what it's got out. Once you get into that cycle that you're getting money every week, and if you can keep it like that, it's beautiful because you're burning your inventory and you're getting behind your supply line supplying you.
Yeah. So our business actually grew during the pandemic, and we saw a revenue spike of about, I think it was like 40%.
Oh yeah.
So did your business also grow during the pandemic? Yeah. And losing employees was actually not a bad thing.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't because
you got to work more.
That's what I came to the point that I was able to sell the company, and sell part of the company because I still own the company, but sell the product line, some of the product line, because it was actually beneficial to me. Because man, all of a sudden my revenues went through the roof, and I wasn't spending any money because I was working all the time. Yeah. When you sit home, you say, "Oh yeah, I want to buy this," and your wife tells you, "No, you want to buy that," and then you want to this, and by the way, I had the house. Remember, Papi passed away. I had to handle that house because I was in charge of it, so I had to renovate it fully, and we did that. I didn't have nobody coming in. I did it all. And so that way, all of us can benefit from it.
Someone do it though,
huh? No, I had my subs because I had like the stucco people from my house go over there and do it. I had the roofers go over there and do it, but I had people that I did the work, but the inside of the house, me and Georgie, we ripped up all the cabinets. I bought the cabinets from his house because he was putting new cabinets.
George?
Yeah, George. Papo. Oh. Papo bought a house.
I didn't know his name was George.
Come on. Georgie. You know his name was George. No,
I didn't know yours. I didn't know yours was freaking Sean.
I thought it was David.
Yeah.
Hey, but now we just call him Deshaun.
Yeah.
Because he can't make up his name.
And my dad used to call you Chino. Chino. So basically that's it. Well, but all that shit was happening, man.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's a lot to digest, But I mean,
did you apply for the ERC?
Yeah, I applied for all that crap, man. They gave me, I got PPP money.
Yeah. No, but ERC.
No.
The Employment Retention Credit. Which is,
but
it's straight money. It's not a loan. We applied for both. We got the PPP loan satisfied, and then we applied for the ERC. The ERC, in my opinion, was the biggest fucking mistake because they fucked us on taxes. But
it counts as revenue.
It counts as revenue, even though what they're doing is, this is what's crazy. They're giving you tax dollars as a credit, and then they're taxing those tax dollars that they give you, which makes no sense. Does that make any sense? They're taxing tax dollars.
I did not apply for neither, and the reason for that was
you should have applied for PPP at least.
Well, what happened was when my employees took a hike, I didn't have the W-2s. You need at least 2 employees.
Yeah.
And then I put the other 3 on 1099s. I told them I can't do that. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I kind of like the 1099s because I used to play them 1099 for their work, and then that's it. And you take care. And I used to give them the 1099. So that's what happened with me. So I got screwed out of the $25,000, I think it was.
26,000 per employee.
Yeah, per employee. Yeah. And then that's basically I got screwed out of that. But at the same time, during that time, I needed my revenue, and I didn't need it to freaking them pay their taxes, their FICA, all the payroll crap that I didn't have to go through.
You have a payroll company to take care of that.
I did. My accountant was taking care of it, but at the time they left, and I put them on 1099s, and then my taxes in that bill a month I needed, because all of a sudden I don't have those 3 people. My production went down, my receivables went down, right? So now I needed money coming in, so for everything that I needed, and then it started escalating. It's like starting all over again, without 3 employees, and actually generating the same or more production.
So you had to adapt.
Oh yeah, you got to adapt, and then the only way I could adapt is to say, well, if this is coming out of my account every month, I had to replenish that with something. And that's the way I did it. And then once I put them on 1099, then all of a sudden, too, the government wasn't aware of what I was doing because they probably wanted to shut me down, even though that we were fortunate enough that we were here in Florida and I didn't get shut down. But they could have. Mm-hmm. That's another reason why this country kind of woke up with this pandemic because the government was telling you what to do with your own business. And if you run out of business, you know how many people went out of business for that? Yeah. The restaurants all over the place.
Well, they did.
I mean, how can you survive? And then you got to pay. Everybody has to work. That's why I'm so adamant about when I go somewhere, I don't look at things of me. I look at, if I go somewhere and I can tip, I tip them. You know what I mean? Because I know they got a family. In my head,
they do a good job.
Yeah, if they do a good job. No, absolutely.
Yeah, because absolutely. I feel like a lot of people feel like, hey, they deserve the 20% no matter what.
And but sometimes if they do a really good job, you might tip more.
No, I do.
That's right. I do.
Oh, I've seen you do it.
I'm a tipper. I tip, but at the same time, what happened with the pandemic, it was like a total disgrace.
It made you aware. It made you aware of. Yeah. You know what the pandemic was?
Of your government.
The government's ability to try to control the general population. Because if you could herd sheep, guess what? You can make wool.
Yeah, but what happened there is going back to Cuba. Mm-hmm. Remember that everybody ran out of toilet paper.
Really?
What were they wiping their ass with?
Don't you remember during the pandemic, you used to go to the freaking store and there's no toilet paper or paper towels. Everybody took them.
I don't remember.
You didn't see that?
Yeah, no, I did. My God, all the aisles were empty.
Oh my God! Even one lady ordered, I don't know how much toilet paper, and she had her whole house full of it from Amazon.
Why did they?
Because everybody wiping their hands. Everybody.
Oh,
so basically,
yeah.
You guys must have been somewhere else because everybody ran out of toilet paper. We didn't because I had, my pantry. We always have a lot more. But I used to go to Sam's Club. There was no paper towels or toilet paper.
I don't.
And I said, "What the hell is going on here?" And everybody, oh my God, And I used to hear everybody, oh, they don't have no toilet paper. And the Cubans looked at each other and said, "Shit, we were wiping our asses with fucking newspaper back in '65. We were wiping our asses in '65, in 1965. With the communists hit, we didn't have no toilet paper over there. You can ask any Cuban that goes over there, and they don't have no toilet paper.
Banana
leaves are good.
Banana leaves, no?
It says, vete a cagar. My dad used to have a saying, vete a cagar a platanar de Bartolo. And I asked him.
What does that mean?
It's a Cuban saying. I told my dad, what the hell is a platanar de Bartolo? And he says, well, when you were in the country and you had to go take a crap, you went to where the plantains trees, and then when you got done, they have those big leaves, and you used to break them, and they have a little bit of water, and you used to wipe, and it was beautiful. It cools you off, and it wiped you real good. So that's why you do it with a plant or a banana leaf, and it will wipe it real good. And I say, oh shit,
that's
what the hell? What the hell was that? And all of a sudden, because my dad would work with me. It trabajó with me. We're 15, 16 years of his life.
So did our mother, right?
Susie, your mom worked for me for a long time.
Yeah. Were you able to get her to stop talking while she was working? I heard that those two used to talk.
We used to laugh. We used to laugh over that. We had a good time. Georgie worked with me too some.
Yeah.
And but your mom, we used to crack, and my dad used to crack on her all the time. And your mom, your mom takes it in, and she's naive about something.
She takes some shit personal. She takes some shit when she shouldn't.
Let me tell you something. She's like my wife, Satrina. She's like that. Satrina takes everything.
Really?
Like right now, she's at the hospital. My mother-in-law, she's in pretty bad shape.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. She's in bad shape. But anyway, that's basically what happens with but anyway, going back to what communism and socialism does.
Did we just U-turn to that? Wiping your ass from banana leaf to communism and socialism.
It's relevant because what happens is what the government did with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then they scare everybody. And justifiable.
It's
It was a pandemic.
fear-mongering.
It was justifiable in a certain extent. But look at the what is the Department of Health now came
No,
out.
CDC.
The CDC came out in
Center of Disease
and all of a sudden
Control.
all of a sudden the pandemic, you don't have to wait 5 days in quarantine anymore.
Now it's only 2.
It's only nothing.
Yeah.
So basically, I sit on a plane every freaking a week, a month. I go over there and come back, and then nobody's wearing anything, and people sneeze. Everybody's doing
You know
whatever the hell they
why?
want.
Because it was the flu. It was the flu. That's all
what
it
happened was,
fucking
it was
man.
the flu and herd immunity. People didn't know about that, and then now all of a sudden, it's
Okay.
the flu.
Here's
But-
a question.
What?
Are you willing to admit this? Did
What?
you get vaccinated?
Yeah, I got 2 vaccines, and believe me, if I had to do it again, I would do it.
¿Por qué?
Well, because the reason I did it, I was already so sick and tired of wearing that mask and everybody. I said, as soon as that fucking vaccine comes out, I'm going to take it. And guess what? I took the first shot,
And you got
and
COVID?
I got COVID.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I had to wait because you had to work like 3 weeks or something like that for the second shot.
no, I've
and I
never-
had COVID,
Never did it.
so then I had to wait, and I took my second shot. And then all of a sudden, I took my second shot,
How you feeling?
and then I had
Are you gonna have a heart attack right now?
It's a big one. Everybody don't know who that is. You know who Red Fox is, right?
Yeah.
Sanford and Son.
No.
Sanford and Son.
You don't know. Oh, you guys are too young.
Yeah.
Sanford and Son, Red Fox. You don't know who he is?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
Is he a
Eddie-
musician?
no, he's a comedian, man.
Oh.
Sanford and Son. He was a junk man with
Yeah.
Lamont and.
No, I don't know.
Okay, well, you don't know.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know.
viejo.
Yeah, I'm taking you too far back. But everybody that took the vaccine, look, if I had to do it all again, I wouldn't do it.
Were you taking blood pressure medication prior to the vaccine?
No.
Wow. Check that out.
Yeah, but I'm allowed to.
Check that
No,
out.
I wasn't. I wasn't taking blood
Yeah,
pressure
think
medicine.
about that now,
Yeah,
huh?
Everybody probably a lot of
They
people.
scared the shit out of the old
a
people.
lot of people, yeah, because but a lot of people got real scared, and then they took the vaccine, just like everybody.
Yeah,
man.
fear-mongering, mass
Everybody wanted to
population.
get over that hump.
Mhm.
Everybody wanted their lives back. Everybody from up north used to come down here
Yeah.
on vacation because we were free. And New York, oh my God, mask, and then triple mask, quadruple mask. And the guy always, you see the eyes. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck is this people? Oh, you're in the middle of a field, you got a mask on playing soccer. What the hell is that? You know what I mean?
I mean, I think if you could survive in a country like Cuba without a vaccine, probably COVID wasn't the biggest scare.
Hell no.
And with that being said, when we get right back, we'll talk about the fact that our uncle took the vaccine and now has to take blood pressure medication. I'm just kidding. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be right back.
All right, holidazers, and we're back to Happy Hour Holidays. We're here with Eddie Riverol, our uncle, and everybody is out there building a business. But at the end of the day, you got to think about the exit strategy, because you might want a different venture, or if you have a passion for what you're doing, then by all means, keep it going and give it to the next generation. But with Eddie,
Well, my exit was basically put on my plate
yeah,
by my customer that actually I sold for 20 years, basically. So what happened was, they came in and they actually wanted to buy me out. And the reason for that had a little bit to do with the pandemic, because we had so much business and it's hard to keep up. Now, you come to a crossroad in a business. I wasn't young enough to feel that I should invest and expand. Manufacturing is a little different. You need to actually get a bigger venue. You got to pay for that. You got to move. You got to almost have a satellite company shipping while you do the moving. Because if not, you start this, it become a strain on your customers, and you don't want to do that. You lose them. So when I got to that point, a crossroad that I needed to make an investment, I thought that my best way was not to do it, because I was already 62 years old. So I had that opportunity and I took it. Now, sometimes you regret what you do because, it's your baby. You built it. You were able to have a salary from your business for so many years. You got security. It's a lot of variables that go into it. It's not like one thing. And then at that point in time, and a lot of times it's outside forces, family members, let's say.
That we don't have to get into.
That we don't have to get into. That basically actually are looking after your best interest, really. But it sometimes it's not what you want. But, you actually understand and rationalize it. And it's a lot of times common sense. But anyway, I was 62 years old, came to a crossroad, and I needed out. And the company that I did business, they have approached me in the past, and now it was the right time. So I decided to take the deal. We negotiated, and I took the deal. They gave me a
fair compensation.
A compensation, and I didn't have to get rid of my whole company because I was able to keep some of it. And they compensated me, and they gave me a job basically, which is a consultant. And then they pay me a salary, and on top of the salary, they pay for all my travel expenses. And I travel sometimes around the country, and then I basically do some design and engineering, and I keep some inventory. I let them know, because basically having a business, you have to have the pulse of your customers there, the pulse of the business. It's not like everything is, hey, you buy and you sell, or you do this, you do that. And in manufacturing, you got to know almost what type of inventory. I go back to inventory all the time, because that's the trick, is having enough inventory to supply your customers. And then you have to have the pulse of your customers, because if your customers slow down, you got too much inventory, then you don't spend that money on that inventory on another customer that really needs it. So you actually have to juggle money, right? If anybody with money can run a business, any idiot. If you have money, you can run a business. If you have money, that's why you see a lot of these people that kind of like, oh, this money, and they inherit the money, or you know what I mean? They never build anything. They kind of say, shit, this money's infinite. They got a tree behind that's what the government does. That's why we're in debt so hard. Yeah. Because, you got an idiot that kind of prints. Oh, wait a second. Look what happened in Illinois, going back to politics. In Illinois, all of a sudden, they don't have money to take care of the inner city. But all of a sudden, the immigrants showed up, and oh, shit, 53 million appear. Yeah. Oh, shit, all this time you say you didn't have any money. Now they're fixing buildings and shit to throw immigrants in there. So the people in the inner city, which usually are African-American, they're all pissed off and say, wait a second. You told us you couldn't fix that building. Now you got bunk beds, you got basketball courts, and all this for the immigrants. And you found $53 million in your budget? Get the hell out of here. Somebody printed that shit because you didn't have it, So the same thing goes into a business. A lot of the times you have to have a certain pulse, and somebody has to manage it. And when you don't manage your inventories and all that, you don't have no money, If you have a lot of money, like I say, any idiot can run a business. But if you don't have no money, then that's the skill set that you need to actually run a business. You don't go under, and you keep it for 20 years, And sometimes
20 years is a long time to have
absolutely.
a business,
20 years is a long time. Yeah. 22 to be exact. But anyway, but you got to understand, your exit strategy is two things. In my business, it's a business that actually takes is ingenuity and keep it fresh, like you guys do in your podcast.
Innovative.
Right? You want to be fresh. Yeah. Well, the same thing goes in the manufacturing. You have to come up with a new product. That takes money. Mm-hmm. And once you come up with a new product, you got to run inventory. Inventory meaning parts, assembly, packaging. And then once you have that, you can peddle it. You might be able to find somebody to buy it. You find a home for it. Then a year from now, you'll start getting orders. That was a success. In the meantime, you had an investment that was dead. Okay? The same thing with any business. You bring new people, new ideas, that's the same thing in manufacturing. So what happens is all that transcends to actually your mindset. How am I going to exit? Right? I'm going to exit now because I'm too old. But in manufacturing, I was a little too old to go ahead and expand and spend my money. and actually invest into the future. You know, you need people, you need help, you need all that. You know what I mean?
But one of the smart things you did do, Theo, is that you bought real estate for your business, and that could be something that you could have used for collateral to be able to continue to expand if you decided to. If you were,
I could have sold,
refis,
but
right?
it's an expense too.
Yeah.
So now, you know, that real estate is part of my retirement. You know, when I sell it. So that's another thing. Whenever you start a business, you have your own office, you do all that. And it's hard to do that and actually, you know, I started with having, I didn't rent. I did that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So basically, now that the warehouse is paid for it. So basically, that's a big.
That's an asset.
That's an asset, and that's why I'm getting out of it and get rid of it, basically. But I mean, it's like. It's different, and I move my little the rest of the business. I'm moving it to another place, and then I'll pay a little rent for that, you know, and then I just keep it up. In some cases, a business you can do that till you're old. You know what I mean? Like if you sit here and you can speak, and somebody really wants to listen to you, you can get paid, and somebody sits there and listens to you.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So the exit is really, it's actually it's a mindset in the strategy you have for the rest of your life. You know, some like right now, look what happened with Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He has a podcast, he has this, he has that. He still can play football.
Yeah.
But he decided to retire. Why?
Save the years on
Because
your
he has
body.
his wife, his kids, and he came to a crossroad in his life, and he said, "Hey, look, I got to retire." He left 40 million. They were going to give him like 20-some million a year or whatever. Whatever.
He was an all-pro center. So.
That's what I'm saying. But he had that. But he said, "Look, my family's more important. My wife, I haven't been here. I've been doing it for 13 years. I want to get out." And then he does that, makes that decision. That was a business decision on his part. But he has other stuff happening.
Yeah, he does.
That actually can turn into a success, like the podcast with Travis Kelce. They hit it now that he's famous too with Taylor Swift. Right?
Yeah.
So basically, all that it takes a
Swifties.
all that takes a thought process,
Yeah.
Preparation and planning.
right? You know, preparation and planning, and then at the same time, you want to keep everything fresh. Like I was saying, you guys keep it fresh. I was trying to keep it fresh by making new products and a new product, and then to make a new product, you got to go out. You got to travel. You got to go see people face to face. They want to see what they want to do with it, and in that way, and when you're making a new product, it's not only for that customer. In your mind, in your head, you're saying, "I can sell it to this guy, but I need to sell it to somebody else too."
Yeah.
So you have to go in there and make sure that you got 2 or 3 ideas, and then all of a sudden, well, I can sell it here. And then once you say, "Well, this customer's basically going to buy so much. Let me see if this other customer buy a little bit more," and then all of a sudden, you got 2. You know?
Yeah.
So, Eddie, I want to ask a question here. It seems like you're well-traveled. You've been to a lot of countries. You've been to a lot of cities. What would you say is your favorite place that you've been to?
My favorite places,
For leisure.
Oh, for leisure,
Yeah.
I think. My favorite is the Cayman Islands.
7 Mile Island or 7 Mile Beach.
I'm a beach bum.
Yeah.
Why?
That's right, but that went there for
that?
leisure. The other countries I went to it was all about business. You know, Mexico. I went to Mexico City, and they didn't let me out of their site because I was going to get jacked up. You know what I mean? Because you go. But and I speak the lingo. Yeah. And then you go to China, they take care of you. But you know, you go to China, you go to Japan. That I would think that probably the neatest city I've been. Tokyo was like.
Tokyo's got to be badass, right?
It's like modern. Everything is clean. Everything is immaculate.
I heard it was
You know
awesome.
what's insane?
And then Taiwan was another city, another place that actually was up and coming at that time.
What city in Taiwan?
What the hell I went?
Taiwan's a country, right?
Yes, a country right off of.
It's part of China technically, but it's not. Kind of like Hong Kong.
Trust me, it's not run like China.
Yeah. No, I know that.
But I mean, that's some of the places I've been. You know, I've
been to Europe.
I've been to Ireland.
Ireland. Did you kiss the Blarney Stone?
Yes, I did.
And it hasn't brought you good luck. Has it brought you good luck?
It was funny. I was sitting on the tour bus, and then I'm talking to what's his name, Dick Bailey, I think it was, or something like that. It's an Irish name. And the guy tells me, I'm going to tell you when you come back a little secret. And I said, okay. I said, I'm bullshitting with him. And I go over there and I climb that damn castle. I'm afraid of heights. I'm going in there and I'm looking down and says, this motherfucking structure over here is going to crumble and I'm going to bust my ass. And all of a sudden, I go in there, I tip over. You have to go backwards. You kiss the Barney Stone, and you come back down. It says, and then when I come back down, I say, okay, Dick, tell me what you're going to tell me. He says, all Americans come over here and they pay a lot of money to kiss a stupid stone that everybody else has kissed, and it's all freaking nasty as hell. He said, you Americans are stupid.
Did you tell him you were Cuban, not American?
Yeah, I told him I'm Cuban, so maybe I'm as stupid as that. He says, I told him, you better think Americans, because if it wasn't for Americans, you would have been speaking German right about now.
Boom! I like that. I like that. Even though the United Kingdom has never fallen.
No, he never fallen, but that's because the United States bailed their ass out.
That's true.
Because they were going to take over. Shit, they were an island. That's the only reason they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Theo, we're coming to like an end of this session, so I kind of want to, for generations that are coming that want to start a business, what's your advice or motivation or inspiration to them? Through everything that you've been through, you came from a different country, had to learn the language. I mean, what got you to the point where you're at today, which is a successful businessman?
Well, I'm not that much of a success.
He's so humble. He's so humble. He's so humble.
You guys, I appreciate it, but actually, in this country, everything you can do anything. If you're going to get into making a product, just basically do your homework. Obviously, it's not only making the product, you got to make sure that the assembly, the secondary operations, you got different things that you got to do. And then once you get that, then you got to go to your vendors, because your vendors is your supply line. That's in that sector. As far as building a business, if you have a good idea, or even, I wouldn't even think about getting a patent, because a lot of these parts that you make, the patent attorney take your money for nothing. And all of a sudden, remember, the patent is only as good as you can defend it. And if you don't have no money to defend it, you're SOL, baby. So basically, you got to think about that. Most of the people that I done tooling, because I did tooling for a lot of people. I did stuff for Polar Power, or all the way down to an inventor. They wanted a core wrap for computer stuff, electrical clamps, toilet seats. I done everything. But all that stuff, a lot of people get a patent. And the only thing you want a patent, if it's mechanically, it's a unique operation. If it's a unique formula of some sort. Other than that, don't spend your money on a patent. Make your part and hit the mark and find a home for it and sell the shit out of it. Because, best mousetrap sells. So if you want to if you got a mousetrap that can catch mice, you sell it. The other one might look good, but it's a piece of shit. Yeah. So you want to make sure that when you go out there, believe me, if it's a good product, you'll sell it. But I mean, you gotta have persistence. A lot of times you look around and you say, "Oh my God, how am I going to get through this?" And then somehow you make it.
Yeah.
You got to stay with it.
Let me ask you a question. Unrelated to business, just about life, and maybe personal relationships and shit like that. What would you say is the best advice you can give to our listeners on that aspect, just about living life?
Well, to live life, my advice that I can give you, I can't give you no advice on marriage or anything.
No, just living life.
I'm giving you an advice that's actually probably maybe is unpopular, but keep God in your life. That's all I got to tell you. You keep God in your life, and everything will be fine. Most of the time, you have to be honest and make sure that the same people that you see on the way up, you see on the way down. So treat people a certain way. and stay away from socialism and communism because all it turns into shit.
Well, Theo, we really appreciate you coming on to our podcast, man. We really enjoyed it. We appreciate all the insight in business, politics, and everything else. We appreciate all our listeners out there listening to us. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Happy Hour Holidays. Look out for our social media posts with our Friday features and different businesses and restaurants that we're plugging on our page. So thank you so much. Peace out.